This is lesson 3 in Chromebook keyboard and text features. We're going to talk in this segment of our video about using the tab key, about using Spellcheck in the things that you're writing, and we're going to talk about a way to undo things that you might have made by mistake. So we'll get started there. Please take a look at my keyboard. This is a Chromebook keyboard, and we've discussed earlier that these are a little bit different from a traditional keyboard. The tab key that you will be learning about is right above the search key that we've used in our earlier lessons. So on the left-hand side of your keyboard, the tab key is there. And if you will watch the text under this picture, I'm not sure you can see my cursor, but I'm placing my cursor at the beginning of this line of text. And when I tap the tab key, it moves this text about a ½ inch over. There is a tab set in this document, and you can see the ruler across the top of my my document. There is a tab set that is about 5 spaces. That's typically the space that your teachers are asking you to indent. And this is one of the uses for the tab key. When you are looking at a piece of text, I'm sure you've learned that a paragraph begins with an indented line. So with the tab key on your keyboard, you can place your cursor right here at the beginning where you can see I need an indented line. You'll place your cursor at the beginning of the line, and when you hit the tab key, it's going to make a nice uniform indentation. You can see that these lines are indented to exactly the same place. You'll use that for the beginnings of paragraphs. You may use it, for example, in a chart or in certain arrangements of text where you need to hit your tab key more than once. If you'll watch the word memory, if I hit my tab key again, it's going to move that text over and it actually indents the entire paragraph. This might be useful in a longer writing if you have a large piece of quoted text. The entire paragraph might be indented, but that's what you use your tab key for, and you can backspace and move things back and use your tab key again to indent them. So you'll find some uses for the tab key as you learn more about writing and formatting your text to make it look right, and the tab key will be very useful. Another thing that we're going to talk about today is the spell check feature in your printed text. So we've been using this particular piece of writing for our videos, and you can tell as you look down my paper that there are some red squiggly lines here and there in this paper. The red squiggly line means that there is something wrong with the spelling. It could be that the word is misspelled. It could be that the word is divided into 2 words and it's supposed to be 1 word. It could be that the word is put together as 1 word and it shouldn't be. It should be a separated word. So the handiest thing about Google Docs is that in your toolbar, there are some ways to help you. There are also some ways to do this as you just look through here. A skill that you might learn on your Chromebook is a 2-finger click. A 2-finger click is the equivalent of a right click on with a regular mouse. So if you're looking at my paper here and the word favorite, it's underlined squiggly red, we know there's something wrong with it. So with my cursor on the word favorite, I can 2-finger click and I get a menu, and the first thing in that menu says, did you mean, and it has the word favorite that is spelled correctly. So from this menu, if I click the word favorite, it's going to correct the spelling of the word in my paragraph. Same thing here with the word overheard. With my cursor here, I can actually 2-finger click, bring up the menu, and you'll see that the first thing in the menu is, did you mean that overheard should be one word. So they're going to give you some options. Google Docs is trying to anticipate, trying to infer what you meant to type. So you can do that a little at a time, just 2-finger click on the word and correct it. I'm going to show you another way to run your spell check. I'm going to put this one back so I have some examples. If you're looking at a completed body of text, the whole thing is written, and you want to go back and check everything for spelling. In the menu across the top of your page, if you will click on Tools, one of your choices is Spelling. And when I click and open the Spelling menu, a window is going to pop up over here on the right-hand side. And the first thing it found was the word overheard. And it's highlighted here, and it's also highlighted in red in my document. And I can see the difference. Here I have it as 2 words, and in the upper right corner, it's 1 word. You have to make the choice. So you have to either opt to change your text to match this and make it 1 word, or if you think you're right and you have some reason to ignore this advice, you can click the word ignore, and it will leave this word just as it is in your text, and the squiggly line will go away. Now, that doesn't mean that it's correct. It just means that you have been asked to consider it, and you believe that your spelling is correct, and you are ignoring the advice of the Google Spell Check, which is not really a good idea. There are also some features here where if it's a word that's unusual, and then every time you use it, you have to come through and run it through Spellcheck, you can add it to the dictionary so that Spellcheck doesn't alert on it always as a misspelled word. Those are usually things like slang words that are accepted in informal writing, but they're not in our dictionaries, and we sometimes don't use them in formal writing. So know that you have these options. Now, when I click change for the word overheard, then Spellcheck is going to take me to the next problem in my paper. It's going to work down through all of the things that it found in my paper that are misspelled. The word toolshed in my writing, I've used it as 1 word. Google Spelling thinks it's 2 words. I'm going to trust Google Spelling, and I'm going to change toolshed to be 1 word. It's actually coming back up to the word favorite. It's working its way all the way through my spelling errors, and I'm looking at the word favorite, and I realize, oh, I left out the O, so I'm going to opt to change my spelling to the spelling that Google Docs recommends. And once that's done, I will get the message that says there are no spelling suggestions, and I can look back through my paper and all of the squiggly red lines are gone, which means that the chances are greater that all my spelling mistakes are corrected. Now, one more thing for this lesson as you go through, there are some options for you if you make changes that you didn't intend to make, if you make corrections that maybe you've thought differently about. There is an undo button. These little arrows in the upper left-hand corner of your page, the one that goes backwards, that's the undo button. And you can use that to click. You also see when I highlight this that Control Z on your keyboard is also a shortcut to this. So all of this highlighting and spelling changing that I did, I'm going to use the back button up here because you can't see my keyboard, but just know that you can use Control Z. If I choose my back button, it's going to step backwards through all of the changes that I have made, and it is going to just take me back in time, really. You can see that it is undoing all of the indenting that we talked about. It has it undid all of the spelling changes. So really using this back button or Control Z takes you one step at a time back to the state that your writing was in before you started making corrections. So that might be useful for you. And as you work with Google Docs and you work through the toolbar and the options that are across here, you're going to learn more about all the things that it can do for you to help you be a better writer.